Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. As you may be aware, we have a heavyweight fight coming up this coming Saturday between two, I guess you'd call them elder statesmen of British heavyweight boxing, Joyce and the old warhorse himself, Derek Chisora. And this is a fight that a lot of people didn't really want to see. They feel Chisora has got too many miles on the clock. Joyce is just built to pound him and batter him, and Joyce's chin is probably too good for Derek to really put a dent in it. And the general consensus is that you'll just see these two bulls locking horns and just trying to push each other one way and then the other, and in the meantime getting basically beating each other up. Now, I think that's a pretty accurate description. I don't really think there's a great deal to say about this fight in terms of technique or style. I think it's just going to be, two guys clubbing each other. And I mean that, clubbing each other, not boxing. It's just going to be bang, bang, bang. Look, I only see one winner. I'll say this from the off, and I think that's Joyce. However, we do have to consider recent events, because Joyce a couple of years ago was absolutely flying. He'd knocked out Joseph Parker. He went in with Zhilei Zhang, suffered an eye injury, bad eye injury. Interestingly, in that first fight, he was coming on quite strong at the point when the fight was stopped. And Zhang, because of his conditioning, age, whatever it is certainly someone whose gas tank has been questioned, let's put it that way. And you got the feeling that maybe, just maybe, had the fight continued, had Joyce not suffered that eye injury, he would have caught up with Zhang and wore him out. Now, in the second fight, of course, we know what happened. Joyce just looked completely out of sorts. Zhang boxed very, very well, because Zhang, despite the fact that he calls himself the Big Bang, he can actually box very well. And he knocked Joyce flat and shattered that, concrete jaw that everyone talked about. I mean, in the first fight, Joyce was shaken and wobbled and so on, but he was absolutely knocked flat in the rematch, left no doubt whatsoever. And so, in true snakes and ladders manner, old Joe went down to the start again. And the guy he knocked out, which was Joseph Parker, won 4 on the bounce, 2 of them against, is it 4 or 5 on the bounce? 2 of them were against Deontay Wilder. And guess who? Zhilei Zhang. Despite being knocked down, he got up and won on points. So it just shows you how things can turn around, how fortunes can flip. The question is, how much of a scar has been left on Joyce regarding those 2 stoppage defeats? He did come back against Cash Ali, looked kind of pedestrian, sluggish. He didn't have Ismail Salas in his corner, which may have contributed to that sort of lethargy that he was showing. And Cash Ali did fight very well. It got stopped in the final round. No shame, he did himself proud. He left it in the ring. But it wasn't an impressive performance by Joyce. Now, as for Derek Chisora, I mean, do I need to tell you about Derek? He's fought absolutely everyone. I mean, apart from Joshua, I can't think of anyone he hasn't fought. And this is over a couple of generations. He first won the British title against Danny Williams in 2 rounds. God knows when that was. Was that 15 years ago now, something like that? 12 years? More than 12 years, surely. He's fought Tyson Fury twice, Dillian White twice. He's fought Parker twice. He's fought Alexander Usyk. He's fought... he fought Fury 3 times, actually, didn't he? Of course he did. Yeah, I mean, who's who? Kubrat Pulev fought him twice. This guy is just an extraordinary throwback warrior who, win, lose or draw, actually he hasn't got any draws on his record, but win or lose, he'll give everything and he will entertain. But in recent years, he has beginning to look very ragged. In the rematch with Joseph Parker, he was battered and floored a couple of times, and so strangely took refuge on the ropes and in the corners and was waving Parker in, but survived the distance. He eked out a very questionable decision against Kubrat Pulev, which led to the third Fury fight, which is a complete mismatch and a shameful piece of matchmaking. And in his last fight, he beat Gerald Washington, who was never any great shakes, really. Gerald Washington is the type of guy that you should really be knocking out. He's really just a sort of, when I say he's a name, he never really achieved anything. He was a sort of C plus heavyweight, maybe at best, but he never really had much commitment. He didn't seem to have much self belief. And against Derek, that was a fight he could have won, but Derek just kind of scuffed and cuffed his way to a points win. And so we find ourselves now with Joe Joyce and Derek Chisora, two guys who just come at you and throw sandbags at you. I mean, there's no sort of laser-like sharpshooting. There's no snipering. It's all just hit you with a bag of cement. Who's going to get hit the most? Well, they're both going to take wallops, that's for sure. But I think Joyce, as a guy he's probably marginally bigger in terms of natural weight. His dimensions are bigger. I see him basically clubbing Derek to defeat in about 8 rounds. I think the referee will step in, or perhaps Derek's corner will pull him out. Derek will have his moments. He'll land his big hooks. Joyce is not difficult to find. Joyce will probably get little flashbacks to being knocked out by Zhang, but Derek has never been a one-punch banger. He does hit hard, but he's not someone who will knock you flat with one punch. And of course, he can be knocked out himself. Dillian White knocked him out in 10. David Haye knocked him out in 5 many, many years ago. It seems like a lifetime ago. Fury stopped him twice out of 3. I see this being roughly an 8-round, give and take fight, with Derek being beaten up, not just beaten, but beaten up. Joyce will pick up some licks as well. Might have a few swellings on the face, around the eyes or whatever. But I see Joyce eventually stopping Derek, like I say, in about 8 rounds. So that's my prediction. There's no point in going into the science of it, because I know it's not going to be a jab fest. Neither's going to be really using their feet much. They'll both be coming forward and looking to whack, and that'll probably be it. But let me know what you think. Maybe you don't agree with me. Maybe you think it will take on a different... both fighters will take on different tactics, and maybe they'll be a bit more crafty, a bit more cerebral than perhaps I'm giving them credit for. But you tell me what you think. Comments below, as always. And please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the like button, and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. I always appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing what you've got to say, and I'll get you later. Bye for now.